Hi, and welcome to a 30-minute workout, which is going to include the warm-up, balance exercise, muscle strength endurance exercise, and a little bit of huff and puff. So before we start, please make sure that you're wearing suitable clothing, something you can move around in. You've got shoes on, something that's stable and secure. Have a glass of water to hand in case you get thirsty. And of course, hopefully you're feeling fit, well and raring to go. If at any time during the exercise session you start to feel dizzy or faint or ill, then please stop. There are no rest periods in today's workout, but again, if you feel that you need to take a break, then please do so. Just keep those feet moving somehow. So if you feel that you need to take a break to get your breathing under control, and at no point should you be gasping for air during this workout, then just have a seat, pedal your feet or wiggle your toes. Just keep those feet moving somehow. When you're ready, just come back and join in. Okay, fantastic. Ready to go? And let's just start with a gentle march. So picking those feet up, coming down, toes, ball of foot, heel. Don't forget you can use that chair as a support option if you need, or kitchen counter, or even the wall. Keep that chest up and the shoulders relaxed, looking forward, just picking those feet up a little bit from the floor. If you're seated, make sure you're away from the back of the chair, and the same thing, just picking those feet up one at a time. Hands can be down by the side of the chair for a little bit more stability if you need it. Okay, and we're going to change to our side step. So this is just the warm-up, just the circulation booster, keeping it low key, low intensity, just gradually warming the body up. A little bit of a side step, leading with the side of the foot. Again, you could be behind your chair, using that chair for balance. If you're seated, make sure you can see my feet. Not very wide, keep it within the width of the chair, just taking those feet side to side. Excellent, keep going. Okay, back to that march for me. I want to bring the arms in now for the march as well. So keeping that chest up, shoulders relaxed, making sure that movement's coming from the shoulder. If you're seated, add those arms. If you're behind the chair and still need a bit of support, then you could try it with one arm and then switch arms if you feel comfortable. Lovely. Let's change to our toe tap. So picking up that foot and just tapping down, a little bit of a diagonal in front of you. So if you're 12 o'clock's down the middle, you're tapping out at 10 and 2. For those seated, same thing, tapping out at 10 and 2. Hands down by the side if you want that extra little bit of stability. Okay, let's bring some arms in as well now. We're going to add that bicep curl. So the hands all the way down by the thighs and then bringing up to the shoulder. Seated, same thing. Add those arms. That bicep curl. Fantastic. Let's go back to that march. Using those arms as well now if you can. As I said, circulation booster, very low intensity, just starting to get the body warmed up, getting that blood diverted to the muscles, ready for the main session. Okay, now we're going to change to our tap back, so you might need your chair support. Just tapping back with those toes, chest up, shoulders relaxed. If you're seated, see I'm away from the back of the chair and I'm just tapping back with those toes. Keep going for me. Chest up, shoulders relaxed, tapping back. You could use the wall as well, whichever is suitable for you. And back to that march. Chest up, shoulders relaxed. Marching on the spot. Hopefully you'll have enough room that you do not have to move your chair around. Move around the chair, don't move the chair around you. Fortunately, limited on space with camera angle, so I'm moving my chair. So, chest up, shoulders relaxed. Starting to think about getting those knees a little bit higher. This isn't a high knee, but we definitely want clearance off the ground of that foot. We want mobility through that ankle, coming down, toes, ball of foot, heel. Same thing if you're seated. Don't let your knees come up too high if you're seated, but really start to add those arms, chest up, shoulders relaxed. Lovely. And come down to a stop. Mobilisation, seated or standing, shoulders pointing forward. Move that head and neck around to one side, back to the middle, and then around to the other. Keep going. I want to do 4 of these. Seated, it's the same. It's the shoulders pointing forward, so the movement's coming from the neck. Don't force it. Glancing to the side and back, and glancing to the other side and back. Moving on, take those shoulders up to the ears, roll them back, squeeze the shoulder blades together and bring them down. Up, roll them back and down. One more, up, roll and back. Lovely. Finishing off with some ankles. If you're standing, using that chair for balance or the wall, we're just picking the foot up, doing large ankle circles with the feet and change direction. Lovely. If you're seated, change foot for me. So that heel on the floor, large circles with our toes and change direction. And bring it in. Okay. Ready to go into the main section. For this main session you will need a resistance band and a solid support option like a wall or a kitchen counter. And here we go into the main session, starting with marching on the spot. So chest up, shoulders relaxed, bringing those knees up in front, getting mobility through the ankles, using those arms as well. So this is our little bit of huff and puff section. We're looking, just get that little bit warmer. If you're seated, still marching in the chair, but just don't bring those knees up as high. But you can really use those arms, or you can increase the speed of the feet. Don't forget, you can also use the chair as a support option. So you can be marching behind the chair. That might enable you to get those knees up a bit higher or go a bit faster safely. This is the huff and puff section. I'm not testing your balance here. And of course there is also the wall. And get ready to change. We're going into the wall press or the chest press. So if you're standing, use that wall. Hands a little bit wider than shoulder width. Fingertips at shoulder height. Bend those elbows. Push back. Even if you usually do your exercises seated, something like a wall press, because of the support option, is usually doable. So you can always give it a go, but if you prefer to stay seated, take that band underneath your arms, push forward, and then slowly come back. Pushing out with a bit of power, strength and speed, but then slowly come back. Resist against that resistance band. Make your muscles do the work. If you find the wall press a little bit easy now, look at something else like a kitchen counter. Keep the body the same, that nice plank position, but it's going to make it a bit more difficult. Excellent. Fantastic. Let's get ready to change. Heel raises. So if you're seated, just bring those heels up, count to 3 at the top, and then slowly bring them down again. If you're standing, behind the chair. We want to come up. We want to pause at the top for that count of 3, 2, 1. Then bring them down slowly as well. And again, coming up and then slowly down. We do want to challenge your balance a little bit for this one. So no leaning on the chair. It's there as an option. But if you can't feel any wobble in your ankles, ask yourself, are you really challenging yourself? If you're at the top and you feel off balance, you can just put those heels down again and the chair is there. If you don't have a chair, you could use the wall as a support option. Again, hand just hovering by the wall just in case. Has to be done slowly. Nice work. Moving on. Wide base sway. Feet shoulder width apart. Let's come down and up. So I'm transferring my weight from one leg down, a little bit of a knee bend and up. Those hands are going across the front of my body, not twisting through my waist. Keep going, seated. You can do this one seated. You can still transfer weight. One bottom cheek, down and up the other bottom cheek. Transferring my weight, can still use my hands as well. Again, across the front of the body. Palms stay facing up at the end of the movement. And it doesn't go more than shoulder width height. Up to you how much of that little dip you take. Bigger the dip, the more work your body has to do. Excellent. Changing onto the muscle strength endurance exercise. So, seated or standing, grab your band, hands underneath, palms facing up, elbows tucked into the side. Bring the hands in, bring the hands up, keep the elbows tucked in, pull those hands apart, and then take those elbows back past the body so you're squeezing the shoulder blades together. Hold for that count of 3, 2, 1. Come forward, release and relax. Keep going. Up, elbows in. Lovely. Okay, put the resistance band somewhere it's safe, something in your way, and we're going to move on to our one-legged stand. So you will need a support option for this. If you're seated, I'll show you what to do in a minute, but for those standing, behind the chair or the wall, if you're feeling that can be used as a support option. I want you to take one leg back. I want to take that heel back behind you. I want you to pause for 10 seconds. Okay, count in your head. Then bring that one down and change to the other foot. If you're seated, can't practice your balance, so all we're going to do is tap back for me. I'd just like you to tap back. Keep that chest up and the shoulders relaxed. Lovely. If you're for the wall, taking that foot back, hands on the wall, and then down. So 10 seconds on each leg. Moving on, side step. So you can stick to a side step, seated or standing, just doing a side step. If it feels too easy, you want to add a little bit to this, then you can add either a chest press, if your shoulder mobility might be a bit compromised, or you're worried about your balance, or you could go to a walking jack. So that's hands above the head, side step. Seated, it's the same. Stick to the side step, and you can add those hands if you want, either above the head or bringing them forward. Oh, you've got to get the brain connection. Leg goes sideways, hands go forward. Lovely. Or just that side step, as long as you are feeling a little bit out of breath. Okay, grab your resistance band. Band underneath feet, up to the sides and back down again. Let's come into shot a bit better. Out to the sides and back. You can do this standing, same thing, bands underneath the arms, bands underneath the feet, pulling up to the side. Can you see how still a slight bend in my elbows? And back down again. Moving on to the flamingo swing, have that chair just a little bit in front of you, or you could use the wall. Leg further from the chair or the wall or the support option. Bring the knee up in front. Slowly bring it down. Either pause there and stop, or if you want, you can take it a little bit back behind and then bring it up again in front. Has to be slow. Count of 3 up, and then that count of 5 down. Pause or take it back, repeat. If you are seated, slightly different exercise, we're going to do the lunges. So chest up, we're going to take that step forward, come forward, push back through the heel. Step forward, take that weight forward and then push back through the heel. Okay, so that's the seated option. If you're standing, stick with that flamingo swing. Remember again, a balance exercise. We want a little bit of a wobble. Perfect. Moving on, we will do the other leg, don't worry. Side tap. So this time we're just tapping to the side. We're not doing that side step, we're just tapping to the side. You can stick to the side tap, or you can add the arms and you can reach across. So a little bit of a side tap, same leg side and arm side are working. Arms going across, toes tapping out. If you are seated, don't want to see this. So stick to that side step and then add that reach across. So you can still do that little bit of twist through the waist across, side step with that little bit of reach across for me. Ooh. Make sure that knee and the ankle come. It's just a little bit of a side step, okay? It doesn't have to be out here. That knee stays above the ankle. Or side step and reach across. Excellent. Grab the resistance band, seated or standing. Want that band underneath the 2 feet, hands, elbows into the side, and then we're just going to take those hands up to the shoulder and slowly back down again. Keeping those upper arms tucked into the body, elbows pointing down, pull up, slowly come back down. If you're seated, you have a little bit of a bigger range of movement, hands down by the other thighs, up and back down again. Okay, one more. Lovely, we're going to do the flamingo on the other side. So other side of chair. If you're seated, go back to those lunges, but change that leg. Knee up and slowly down. Make sure that that chair is in front of your hip. You should never be needing to reach behind you for support options. Okay, so knee up slowly and slowly down. Should be wobble going on with your ankle. Should be working to keep you upright. So if you're leaning on the chair and everything feels very sturdy and secure, we're not challenging our balance. Make sure you keep that chest lifted. Might need a hand still, might need a fingertip. Might even be able to just lift your hand off a little bit. Because don't forget, if you feel off balance, you can just get that foot down as well. Keep going. Okay, tap back. So behind the chair or the wall, we're just tapping those toes back. Now this is the huff and puff section. So if this doesn't feel enough for you, then you can add those arms if you feel safe with your balance. But this is not a balance exercise, this is an endurance, this is getting that heart rate up. So I prefer you used the chair, felt secure, and were able to move that a little faster, and you had to slow it down to add those arms. If you are seated, tap those toes back, bring those arms up in front. Arms are optional, it's up to you. We just want that heart rate up a little bit, that breathing rate increased a bit, feeling warm. So whichever movement does that for you, that's great. Don't forget, all the way through this, you should still be able to talk. Okay, sit to stand, moving on. So if you're seated, good starting position. Up, come back, feel that chair. Slowly bring yourself down. Keep the chest up. Remember, fingers pointing forward if you need them. If you don't, if you keep your chest up, have those hands crossed over your chest. Don't have to use the chair. If your leg strength is already quite good, you can just do those squats. Coming down and up. Keep that chest up. Take the bottom back. Knees bend, but the bottom goes back. You can always use that wall as a bit of support as well, if you need it. Remember, the hands travel with you. Don't leave the hands at the top while you're at the bottom. A few more. Keep going for me. That sit to stand or the squat. Moving on, we're going to do tandem walking. So have that wall. It's the best option because it's not going anywhere. Okay, but banisters, something like that, are good as well. Keep that chest up. And we're just putting one foot in front of the other. So we're that tightrope walking. One foot in front of the other. My chair's in the way. Hopefully your chair's not in the way. One foot in front of the other. When you come to the end, remember both feet parallel. Turn to face the wall. Turn to face the other way. And back again. So my feet, one foot in front of the other. Nice and slowly. Wall there. If you're seated, you can practice this. Just put the heel of one foot by the toes of the other. Hopefully you can see my feet. So the heel of one foot by the toes of the other. Count to 10 and then change. Lovely. Moving on. Knee bend, shoulder press. So you can do this behind the chair if you want. Not a squat or a sit to stand. It's a little bit of a knee bend, and then we're coming up and hands are coming up. Still knees are bending, bottom's going back, just not as deep. If you're seated, heel raise, shoulder press. So my heels are coming up off the floor and I'm reaching up. Heel press, heel raise, shoulder press. Again, don't have to use the chair. If you're happy, you can do that little bit of a knee bend and shoulder press with no balance support, and that's fine, but you can use the wall as well. Fantastic. Grab your bands. As I said, please move around the chair. Don't move the chair around you. I'm having to do that because of my space limitations. Hopefully you don't have those same space limitations. Put that band underneath the feet. Seated or standing, band under feet. Bring those arms up in front and then down again. I'm going to change the view so you can see my sideways on. Keep those. Can you see how my back is nice? I'm sitting nice and tall. Bringing those arms up in front and then down again. If you're standing, same thing. Bring them up and then down. Excellent. Keep going. Slowly up and slowly down. On to the next one. Back to the wall for me. Heels up. We're going to slowly toe walk. So we're bringing the heels up and then we're toe walking. Slowly looking forward. When you get to the end, come down, both feet parallel, turn to the wall, turn to the other side, up we come again, and off you go the other way. Slowly, slowly. If you're seated, we can still toe walk. Just do them in batches of 3. At the front, bring the heels up. 1, 2, 3. Heels down, step back. Away from the back of the chair. Heels up, step forward. 3 small steps. 1, 2, 3. Heels down, step back. Lovely. And relax. That was it for today. Well, it's not. I'm going to cool you down and stretch you out, of course. So if you're seated, I just want you to pedal your feet for me. And if you're standing, just a gentle march. Now, there wasn't any rests in that. We did go bam, bam, bam per exercise. But remember, this is a video. If it takes you a little bit longer to safely get in position, pause every time I change exercise. Give yourself time and then start the exercise with me. Each exercise we did for 1 minute. So play around with that how you want. It had a little bit of everything. Any questions, of course, please do get in contact with me. So this is now the cool down. So hopefully you ended that feeling a bit warmer, maybe breathing a little bit heavier. And now we're just going to calm the body down, get that breathing under control, cool down and stretch you out. So pedaling your feet if you're seated, just gentle, marching on the spot, no arms if you're standing. Fantastic. If you're standing, just go to pedaling those feet for me. Just gently bring those heels off the ground one at a time. Okay. Now again, if you still feel that you are breathing a little bit too fast or you're still too warm, pause the video. Continue just marching on. Marching makes it sound more intense than I want it. Walking on the spot. You can just walk around your room if you want. It doesn't have to be on the spot. Depends how much space you have. But just keeping that body moving while your heart rate comes down. Okay, so it can just be a little bit of swaying. Whatever makes you feel comfortable. And then when you got that heart rate under control, the breathing control, come and join us for the stretch. But we're going on now to stretch. So everybody have a seat. Come to the front of the chair for me. We're going to have one leg out in front. So I'm at the front of the chair. These trousers aren't very helpful, but I've actually got a small bend in my knee. I've not actually got my leg completely straight. There is a small bend still. My foot is relaxed. Hands on the bent knee. I'm going to lift my chest and I'm going to lean forward from the hips. Hopefully that means I'm going to get a stretch just down here. I'm still square, pointing forward. So I'm not letting my shoulder dip. And then keeping that leg where it is, bring the chest up. Take the toes to point to the ceiling. So I'm doing a heel dig basically. Then trying to bring those toes a little bit back towards me again and push that heel away, which means I get a stretch transfer to the back of the lower leg. Bring that leg in, take the other leg out. Hands on the bent knee again. Lift the chest, lean forward from the hips. Get the stretch down the back of the other leg. Okay, keep that leg out, bring the chest up, turn the toes to the ceiling and push the heel away. Bring that leg in and then take the upper body. Take the hands round to the front as if you're hugging a beach ball or a tree. Push those hands away and open up that upper back for me. And then taking the hands round to the side. If you can only get them round to the side of your body, that's fine. Otherwise, take them behind. Squeeze the elbows and the shoulders blades together so you open up the front of the chest. Okay, bring that down. One hand to the same shoulder, other hand underneath, and just lift that elbow up gently. Keep the shoulder down and relax, looking forward. Don't force it up, just take it up to where it can go comfortably. Feel a little bit of a stretch here. Bring that down, same the other side, hand to shoulder, other hand underneath, and just lift it up. And then bring it down and shake it out. Fantastic. Thank you for joining me. I hope you found this enjoyable. If you've got any questions, then you know how to get hold of me, and please do. Otherwise, I will see you next week. Thank you.